another Sunnahfollowers exclusive, Not One of Us, written by Sheikh Muhammad S. Adli, broken down and brought to you by host lailanasheeba. Join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, right here on Sunnahfollowers.
Alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salam ala wa rasulullah. Welcome to our Hadith series here at Sunnahfollowers. And we are studying the Hadith from two books for this class here. Two books. The first book entitled Not One of Us. Not One of Us. This book can be purchased by going to www.atlionline.com. It only costs $4. Pick up your copy of this book today. And then the second book is the book of Beware. Beware. And these are also wonderful hadiths in which Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli gathered together as a reminder for us of certain things that we need to be aware of in Islam, okay? Because these things can destroy our faith. So two books, Not One of Us and Beware. And these are written by Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli. And let's get this started today by starting with the first book of Not One of Us. And I want you guys to remember, when we first started this class, we did the introduction. And in the introduction of this book, Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli emphasized how even though the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that if a person does this or if a person does that, he or she is not one of us. That doesn't mean that the person is a kafir. That doesn't mean that the person is not a Muslim anymore. And I want to reiterate that. You know, under no circumstances can you go around referring to any Muslim as being a non-believer. What makes a person a non-believer is if they openly, admittedly deny belief in Allah, or deny that Allah's laws are what they are, or they deny that the Prophet said what he said. So do not take these hadiths to mean that if a person is engaging or indulging in these behaviors, or if a person has these characteristics, that person is no longer a Muslim. Instead, what it means is the person is walking a thin line, and that person needs to check his iman, check her iman, because if they don't change their way of thinking, their way of practicing, then they can end up off the straight path and on a path of destruction. That's what these hadiths mean. And I need to reiterate that, okay? So let's take a look at the hadith for today, which is the second hadith in this book, Not One of Us. And let's put the PowerPoint up. And what I did today, I put both classes on the same PowerPoint. Okay, but let's take a look at this one. Okay, this is the hadith on Not One of Us. And this hadith is hadith number 2. It speaks about whosoever imitates other religions. And by the way, I want everybody to look at my screen here. This is how the book looks. This picture right here, when you go to atlionline.com to buy the book, this is a picture of the book. It's a door that's open, and that's the book. It's only $4. So today's hadith addresses imitating other religions. And let's take a look at this wonderful hadith. This hadith is narrated by Amir ibn Shuaib. And he tells us that he heard this hadith from his father, who heard it from his grandfather. And what the hadith is that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, he is not one of us who resembles something other than us. He said, do not resemble the Jews or the Christians. For indeed, the greeting of the Jews is pointing with the finger. And the greeting of the Christians is a wave with the hand. And this hadith is authentic. It's a Tirmidhi hadith. A Tirmidhi hadith. And before I go further to explain this hadith, I want you guys to understand something. Whenever a person, let me go back. Whenever a person speaks about this religion, they have to be able to base everything they say upon the Quran and Sunnah, as I've been trying to explain to you guys in our series on Wala wal Bara. We cannot make statements about this religion that we can't back up. For example, if I tell you that something happened with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions, I have to be able to tell you the story of it and be able to tell you what the source is. The source is the proof. Remember, we Muslims are not like the Jews and Christians. We are a people of dalil. We are a people of evidence. We're able to prove what we say with clear evidence. So this is how you can recognize who the people of knowledge are in this religion and who are the people of just talk. Remember, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned us of the days of the Ruwaybidah. And who are the Ruwaybidah? These are the Muslims that talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. They make a lot of statements about the religion. They'll tell you this happened, that happened. The Prophet said this, Aisha said that, this, that, ooh, ooh, ah. But then if you say, wow, I never heard that. Wow, I didn't know that. Where's the source? They say, oh, it's there, but they can't prove it. I want you guys to know the burden of proof is not on you. It's not for you to prove a person's lie. They have to prove it themselves. So if a person tells you something about this religion that you never heard before, and they can't provide you with the evidence, then you say, okay, thank you, brother. Thank you, sister. And you just walk away. You don't sit there and argue with them. You don't sit there and debate with them. And it's not your job to go try to look up what they said. How can you research a lie? How can you research something that's made up? The burden of proof is not on you. It's on them. And what's the source? The source is one of the books, either the Quran or the Hadith. And even when we're dealing with the Hadith, some sources are. Let me talk about Tirmidhi. Do you guys know that 60% of the hadiths in Tirmidhi are not authentic? Let's talk about Dawood. Did you know that 65% of the hadiths in Dawood are not authentic? So this is the thing that you run into, the people of knowledge. This is why the Prophet said, ask the people of knowledge, because you may be reading a hadith that is not even authentic. And you don't know it because you haven't been trained. You haven't been taught. You don't know how to research. And to be honest, the research was already done. 2 books, Bukhari and Muslim, everything in those 2 books is authentic. And that's why I try to tell my students, stick with those 2 sources. In fact, 85% of the knowledge of Islam alone is in Bukhari. And you definitely can get the other 30 or 20% from Muslim. Okay? So what's the source of this hadith? The source of this hadith is Tirmidhi, but this is an authentic hadith. This hadith has been authenticated by the scholars of hadith, but you're not going to know that unless you are a person that studied the hadith. I know this because I have studied the hadith. Alhamdulillah. So in this hadith, what's happening? What's happening is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling us, do not try to be like the Jews and Christians. Do not try to do things like they do. Instead, we should try to be the opposite. And what's the history here? He's talking about the greeting. And when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam made this statement, what's the story behind it? Well, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was teaching the companions after Fajr what he would do every day. Every day after performing Fajr, he would sit there and answer questions about Islam. He would interpret dreams for the people, and he would give little small khutbahs. Well, this time he was speaking about the virtues of the way we greet. He said, our greeting is not just a greeting. Our greeting originates from out of paradise. And this is when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained how after Allah created Adam, he told Adam to go and greet the angels. And he told him, however those angels respond to you, that will be the greeting of your people. And that's when the angels responded to him with wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Okay? So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, our greeting is not just a greeting, but it's also a supplication for each other. We're sending peace and blessings from Allah upon each other. So you want to be different than they. The Jews, their greeting is to hold up a finger. The Christians' greeting is to wave. That's nothing. But our greeting is unique. It originates from paradise. And we're supplicating each other. We're wishing the peace and blessings of Allah upon each other. And he went on to say the rewards we get for doing that. The rewards for responding with wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Okay? So everything we do is unique. And that's what the Prophet is saying. Be Muslim. Establish the Muslim identity in life. Wala wal bara. Remember, he was teaching the Muslims wala wal bara, allegiance. We have allegiance to Allah, allegiance to the Prophet, allegiance to each other, even in the way we greet. Our greeting unites us. It's a blessing. It's a supplication for us. So don't wave like the Christians. Don't hold up a finger like the Jews. Be unique. Own your own identity. Because whoever takes on an identity other than the identity that Allah has given us is not one of us. That's what he's saying in this hadith. When you take on the identity of the Jews, you become one of them. When you take on the identity of the Christians, you become one of them. We are different. We are unique. We walk to the beat of a different drum, even in our greeting. So own it. Own it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. That's our greeting. It ain't what's up. Hey, fries go with that shake. No, our greeting is that. So again, this hadith is not referring to a person as being a kafir. You're not a kafir because you greeted another person like the Jews and Christians did. But it shows a weakness in your iman. It shows a weakness in your foundation as a Muslim. It shows a weakness in your identity as a Muslim. Remember, we are people of dignity, humility, and balance. That's something that we own. We are a balanced nation. We are a dignified nation. That's what separates us from all the other nations. Own it. Own it. When you see another Muslim in the grocery store, walk up to that Muslim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, my sister. If you a woman and you see another woman. If you a man and you're in the grocery store and you see another man, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, my brother. Own it. And don't be afraid to give the greeting back. Muslims today don't own what we are. The Muslim identity today has become slaughtered. Ever since 9/11. Own your identity. Does everyone understand that? Alhamdulillah, when I walk into the Starbucks shop over here where I am, the Muslim girls, I walk in, we all own it, even though they don't cover up. They'll run up to me, Assalamu alaikum, Sister lailanasheeba. Oh, coffee's on me today. It's on the house. We own our identity. Even though they're not in hijab, they stand tall when they with me at the coffee shop. We're Muslims too. They'll tell the customer, oh yes, we're Muslims. Don't get it twisted. One girl said, don't get it twisted. I'm a Muslim too. Don't get it twisted. Own it. We're separate. We're distinct. We're a people of justice. We're a people of balance. We're a people of humility. As long as you don't transgress us, we won't transgress you. Own it. Whoever doesn't own it is not of us. So this is a wonderful hadith for us to ponder the meaning of. And that's the history behind it. So he told the companions, don't be like the Jews and point with a finger. And don't be like the Christians and wave your hand. You know, give your brothers and sisters Islam their right. And by the way, this is one of the 7 obligations or the 7 rights that a Muslim owes one another. That's one of my rights. When you see me and you're a Muslim woman and you see me, I have that right. You have to greet me, not with, hey, what's up? Not with, hey, you're looking good today. Thank you. It's assalamu alaikum first. That's one of the rights that we owe each other. Fulfill those rights. So there's a lot of lessons to be learned from this wonderful hadith. Let's look to see what Sheikh Adli put as some of the lessons learned. He put here that a Muslim should be careful to not imitate people from other religions, especially when it comes to our religious and ritual matters. Remember, even the greeting is an act of worship. The greeting is an act of worship. Also, he said the authentic example of the Prophet should be every Muslim's point of reference. Exactly. How did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam behave? What did he do? Like I tell you guys, here we are. It's almost 'tis the season again. How did the Prophet respond to the greeting of the non-Muslims? Did he give them a lecture on Islam? No. When they came to the Prophet and said, Merry Christmas, his response is, and the same to you, wa alaikum, which means the same to you. That's how we respond to the non-Muslims. Happy New Year, the same to you. Merry Christmas, the same to you. Do fries go with that shake? The same to you. May Allah destroy you, the same to you. May you burn in hell, the same to you. That's the way the Prophet taught us to respond to the non-Muslims' greetings. You don't have to stand up and go through a lecture on how you a Muslim and 9/11 and you sorry. No, just say the same to you. Short, simple. Okay? Also, we learn from this hadith that a Muslim should honor his place of worship differently from other religions. And again, the greeting is an act of worship. We should honor it. It's I'm sending blessings to you. You're sending blessings to me. And also a Muslim should make sure to embrace the looks and mannerisms that Allah told us to adopt. Okay? Our appearance is everything too. Not just in men, but women too. We should be clean and attractive in our appearance when we leave the house, not just brothers. Sisters too. You want to make sure that your hijab and your jilbab is matching, that you are clean in your appearance, that you have no foul smells, that you have no perfume smells either. And if you're going to wear makeup, because makeup is not haram, but you can make it haram based on how you use it. If you're going to wear makeup, everything with dignity and balance. I am balanced. I am not transgressing the limits of Allah. I have on my kohol. I am flawless in my appearance. I don't look like a prostitute, nor do I look like a bag woman. I'm in between. I am a balance, dignity, humility, respect. You sisters have to own your appearance. Some of you go way overboard. You wear all this makeup that I wouldn't even wear outside. You have on all these eyelashes going to the moon, which I told you, in my opinion, they're haram, because I'm a woman and I know that there's an alternative. And the alternative is fiber lash mascara. Okay? That will help to condition your lashes and make them grow. Okay? All that loud purple, pink lipstick that's too loud. We need to tone it down, sisters. You don't want to bring unnecessary attention to yourself. You want to be of dignity, balance, class. Okay? So again, we're supposed to be different than the non-Muslim in our appearance, in our behavior, in our way of thinking, and in our choices in how to live this life. Yeah, I choose to wear makeup, but I don't look like Cardi B. I choose to wear nice apparel. I don't look like Nicki Minaj. I choose to wear hijab, and I don't look like a nun either. That's another problem too. This is a big innovation going on. We got Muslim women trying to look like nuns. Why are you trying to resemble a nun? You know, we're Muslims. We're not nuns. They don't look like us. They don't dress like us. Why are you trying to dress like them? Subhanallah. Okay. Also, we learn from this hadith that it's sinful to do something that is religious, that is a part of what the Christians and Jews and other non-Muslims do. This is why we don't celebrate birthdays. Birthdays is an act of act of worship. We don't worship anybody because they were born. The non-Muslims do that. Okay, so we don't celebrate birthdays. Why is it that we don't celebrate Thanksgiving? Not because it's an act of worship that's haram, but because our allegiance is not to that. My allegiance is not to the pilgrims. My allegiance is not to America. My allegiance is not to anyone except Allah, the Prophet, and the companions and the believers around the world. That's it. Why don't I celebrate Valentine's Day? Because again, this contradicts my Islamic beliefs. We don't believe in girlfriends. We don't believe in dating. We don't believe in secret relationships like that. Why don't I celebrate Mother's Day? Because my way of life teaches me that every day should be Mother's Day. And my allegiance is not to American society on that. Americans pick one day out the year to commemorate their mother. My religion is different. We commemorate her every day. So my allegiance is to Allah, to the Prophet, to the Muslims, not to non-Muslims and their rituals. Do y'all understand? So this is why we don't celebrate non-Muslim holidays. We don't do Labor Day. We don't do Arbor Day. We don't do Secretary's Day either. We don't do Teachers' Days because we respect people every day. We let people know that they are appreciated every day. Our allegiance is to Allah, the Prophet, and the Muslims, not to these kafir and their rituals and stuff. Y'all get it? All right, so this is a wonderful hadith for us to ponder the meaning of. Whoever imitates a people becomes like them, and they're not of us. We want to be of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We want to be of his companions. We don't want to be raised up on the day of judgment standing with the non-Muslims. We want to be raised up and gravitate over there to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Implementing this hadith will help you to do that. Okay, any questions or comments about this hadith here? Okay, no questions about this hadith? Then mashallah, let's go to the next one, which is from the book entitled Beware. Beware. Let's put the PowerPoint up for this one. And this hadith that Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli put together in this book speaks about how we should beware of withholding three things. Beware of withholding three things. Let's see what they are. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said three things should never be withheld from others. And those three things are water. You should never stop other people from being able to access water. Also, land to graze your animals on. For those of you who don't know, it's haram in Islam to rent land. Okay? We can't rent land. The land belongs to Allah. And we shouldn't withhold it from other people. We should allow people to be able to pasture or graze their animals on it freely. And also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, never withhold fire. Fire is what we use to keep ourselves warm. Fire is what we use to cook food for ourselves. Fire is also what we use to sterilize and disinfect. So don't keep people from having access to fire. Do you guys see how Allah knew what he was doing? Allah sent the Prophet Muhammad to live and convey the message during the dark ages. The dark ages were the most darkest times in humanity's existence, also known as the medieval ages. The medieval ages. Allah planned it perfectly. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought hope to the people because this was a time in history where men usurped from each other. Men withheld from each other. It was all about who had the most that could be in power over you. So the Prophet brought balance. He brought balance to the world. You know, certain things we all need to survive. Land, water, fire. Those are three necessities. So we're not going to withhold the water. Allah's the one that causes it to fall from the sky anyway. So who are you to build a dam to prevent your neighbor from accessing that water? The earth belongs to Allah too. He's the one that causes it to grow and to die and to come back again. So who are you or me to prevent some man from allowing his animals to eat from the earth? And fire. Without it, we wouldn't be able to keep ourselves warm. Without it, we wouldn't be able to cook our food. Without it, we couldn't even bathe properly. So who are you to take this away? So this is another hadith that shows how Islam came about through the medieval dark ages, and Islam brought balance to the world. It brought justice to the people. Subhanallah. So who are we to stand in the way of that justice? Who are we to stand in the way of that balance? Let's look at the lessons that Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli put in this hadith. Okay. He said, lessons learned. Number one, Islam differentiates between personal ownership and public ownership. Exactly. Certain things belong to Allah, like the earth, like the rain, like the water. Okay? This is why you can't rent the earth. This is why you don't rent the water. Also, we learned that public resources are supposed to be accessible to everyone. Exactly. No one should withhold these natural resources. And we can also see that Islam is concerned with people supporting each other. Islam, one of the tenets of that Shahada is wala wal bara. You see how everything begins with and everything goes back to Aqidah. When we declare La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, this is part of that statement. I am not gonna withhold the natural things that Allah sends to us, like the earth, the water, the fire. Even if that person's a non-Muslim, he needs water here. This river belongs to all of us. This isn't my river. It's not my lake. It's not my creek. It's for all of us to benefit from, Muslim and non-Muslim. This forest doesn't belong to me. This forest belongs to all of us that live here. We can all benefit from this forest. And this fire, everyone can make use of it. Everyone can come and cook from it and take it home to keep warm. We don't monopolize natural things that come from Allah. Islam is beautiful, guys. And this is another thing that separates us as Muslims. Our religion is not just a religion. Islam is also a beautiful way of life. If we live in accordance to its teachings, if we implement the lessons learned from our Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then we'll be able to find harmony with each other and within ourselves here on this earth, as we gather up as many good deeds that we can take with us for the hereafter. All right, I'm going to stop.